Hi, I'm Joan Newcomb, and today's morning musings is shadow boxing. I'm doing a series of daily morning musings, and I'm using posts from my blog, Adventures in Density and Effort, as inspiration. Now, I wrote these a while ago, and the world has completely changed since then. So if I encounter anything that is out of date, I will give you the most recent information, and then at the end, I will summarize the topic based on what's going on in the world today. I also have some special offers, so stay tuned to the very end to see what they are. Shadow boxing. How often do you have imaginary arguments in your head, or long conversations explaining the injustices done to you by others? Sometimes these conversations are with Ellen. I call these shadow boxing. You're sparring with your shadows. You are jabbing at illusions. It doesn't matter how real the situation was or is that you're talking about. Inside your head, it isn't real. Or you could be talking to your angels, your guides. It could be one of your sub-personalities expressing themselves, but it's not really happening in front of you, in your body, with someone else in their body. You're driving your car, you're tossing and turning at 3 a.m., you're sitting in a meeting, and between your ears, you have a captive audience listening to your story. I've had such a story going on in my head since before Christmas, when I decided not to move my mother to Seattle. It's a potent story. I've actually shared it with some people with satisfying results. But the point is, it is 5 months later, and a significant amount of emotional energy is being wasted still recounting it over and over again. What's at the core of our story? We want to be heard. We want to be recognized. We want to be understood. We want wrongs to be corrected. We want an apology or amends. We want the world to know we are right. Shadowboxing takes your energy backwards towards the past, which no longer exists. It's like trying to drive with your eyes in the rearview mirror. It's time to tell a different story. Redirect your thoughts to more productive topics. Your thoughts create energy. You can create being depressed or happy depending on what you're dwelling on. The stories in your heads show you where you're directing energy. Grab yourself by the ears and turn in a more positive direction. Make a new story up. Daydream winning the lottery. Recite a series of uplifting affirmations. The more you do this, the easier it will be and the less charge the old thoughts will have. Doing this actually creates new neural pathways in the brain and can chemically change your moods. Whole new possibilities open up for you because you're receptive to them now. So try this for 7 days and see what happens. So this is really interesting. I wrote this back in 2012. And I had decided not to bring my mother to Seattle because I'd had some interactions with my brother and sister-in-law here, where it just became very clear that if I was in a crisis situation with my mother, like I had just gone through with her being in the hospital, but there wasn't anybody in Washington, D.C. that could help. But if I was in Seattle and had my mother in the hospital, I still wasn't going to get the same help. And I've just reawakened the story and could go on and on and on about that. And the thing is, that's the trajectory the circumstances took. And I hunkered down and stayed in DC and midwifed my mother back to spirit in the comfort of her own home. But the thing is that we have these stories from our past, and we also tell these stories in our daily lives, and we give a really emotionally charged version of it, and then it really gets us stuck. And I said here that your thoughts create energy, and you can create being depressed or happy by what you're dwelling on. And it's true that our thoughts create these neural pathways, and if we've had trauma or we've had depressing thoughts, then we've got these ruts in our heads, this grand canyon of negativity that our thoughts get stuck in. But positive thinking doesn't get us out of that necessarily. I mean, there is something to be said for getting the appropriate antidepressant to help change your brain chemistry and doing trauma therapy to help you de-energize these old patterns. When I did this for myself and changed my story, which changed my life, I had been doing a whole variety of things that led me up to that point where then I was able to change my thoughts. It was a level of spiritual awakening, and it did shift me to a whole new way of being. So I'm not talking to people who are clinically depressed here, but if you're just everyday depressed, or if you are struggling with what's going on in the news or the drama going on in your life or other people's lives, it is a suggestion to catch your thoughts, to notice if you're boxing with shadows, to notice if you're reinforcing the stories in your head by telling them over and over again. And it's very powerful to interrupt that and change the narration. The point of my videos is to invite people to recognize that they are consciousness and to start operating as consciousness. And when you do that, then those stories do just sort of fade away and you can start navigating your life from a more empowered standpoint and open up to new possibilities. So if you've had an experience with this or have any questions, please leave a comment below. I'd love to read your comments. And if you like these videos, please share them with your family and your friends and on your social media. You can also like and follow or subscribe. And that way you're telling the algorithm to share this far and wide and get this out to people who really need to see it. And if you'd like a free sample of one of my consciousness techniques, click on the link below to the skybox technique. It'll give you an expanded perspective of your life from the viewpoint as consciousness and open you up to new possibilities. If you want some manifestation techniques, Manifesting Money and Miracles is my self-study course where you learn how to use consciousness techniques to completely change your life. And if you want to know more, my website is joan-newcomb.com. There you can learn about my individual sessions where I take a look at you as consciousness and what's going on in your life today, and I can answer any questions that you might have, whether it's about what's coming up in your future, whether it's to do with your work or your relationships, your money, your home. I can also talk to your deceased loved ones, and it's all recorded just for you. And if you want to learn how to do this for yourself, Manifesting Money and Miracles is a great preparation for my coaching special where I work with you one-on-one and give you specifically chosen consciousness techniques so that you can transform your life. So go to my website, joan-newcomb.com, and I'll see you tomorrow in another Morning Musings.